what do you care about? Do you care about the environment? Maybe, maybe not. Do you care about your family? The activities you like doing, driving, school, work? The group that you get together with on Fridays to have fun? Do you care about politics? Is what all those questions will end up coming to. Any of those answers would. I mean, I feel like going on hikes, it's not really political, is it? But it kind of is. Everything revolves around politics, down to the point that you watching this video on YouTube has to do with politics. In China, they have restricted social medias. So they don't have YouTube. They have a government-ran YouTube with a different name. That's because of politics. North Korea is kind of cut off from the world because of politics. It all revolves around politics. So why should you care? You should care because what you like doing is impacted by the politics. By going hiking, you're free to do that. What if you weren't? It's hard to picture a world like that if you live in a Western civilization, but Ayn Rand was a writer that grew up in the Soviet Union, fled to the US, and wrote about a bunch of liberty stuff. For example, her book Anthem talks about a society where people are given names, given jobs, until the point that a guy is really smart, teachers don't like him, make him a street sweeper. What does he do? He discovers electricity, goes to his government, tells them about it, and they chase him out of the city because they didn't like that for their politics. He did not have freedom. There's some things that people can't do. You can't drive as fast as you want to do. Why? Politics. There's laws against it. Anything with a law is politics. Now, some of this might be self-evident, but I think it's something that people don't notice as much as they should. So what I'm proposing is that if everyone paid attention to politics, you would be able to live a lot happier lifestyle, or at least generations that come will. By caring if it's legal to drive as fast as you want, I mean, if you voted, yeah, screw it. People should be able to drive as fast as they want. You may be putting yourself at risk. You might end up in a car accident. I mean, there's just so many details with laws that impact everyone's lives. Does everyone follow the law? Obviously not, or else jails would be empty. But it does make an incentive not to do it. It gives a punishment, and people don't want the punishment. Even people who don't care, they don't want the punishment. So yes, people still end up committing crimes, but it helps deter that. All politics. Some of it's cultural, which I'll talk about here in a couple of videos later, but it's mostly all politics. Everything you do. The sports you watch. What if sports were banned? That would all be political. That would be politicians choosing to ban it, passing legislation on it. So we should all just start actually caring about politics. What do you have to lose by doing it? You become more educated, become more involved in the society that you live in, become involved in your community. As people who live in a democratic society where you have the right to vote, you have the choice. Yes, one vote doesn't make a difference. Well, sometimes it might. You never know until you vote. So people need to, I think, take kind of political responsibility. There's a political ideology known as libertarianism where the idea is the government doesn't involve itself very much. Liberals and conservatives both take aspects from that philosophy. For example, liberals they would like weed to be legal, most likely. Not all liberals, but a liberal policy would be legalization of marijuana, or less government involvement at the border, or less government involvement on abortions. Conservatives want less government involvement in business. They want less government involvement on economy. These are, if you took both of them and put them together, you get libertarianism. And everybody's always, America's motto, freedom. That's what everybody kind of, as an American, you're taught to view America as the land of the free. To be able to live in a land of the free, have to be able to govern yourself, take responsibility. By not paying attention to politics, what are you doing with your liberty? Yes, you have the freedom to not choose to. And as we see, America is not collapsing. Not everybody pays attention to politics. There's a certain amount of people that need to pay attention to politics, or else you would have a dictator. But other than that, there's a certain amount of people that do care about politics, and it keeps the whole system afloat. But the problem is, you hear everyone complain about politicians. Political polarization is a problem. We have political problems that are growing. And if everyone just, if someone's a conservative, someone's a liberal, and they say, I'm dropping the political ideology, I'm starting fresh. I'm gonna go read about minimum wage. I'm gonna go read about gun rights and how guns impact the population. I'm gonna go read about abortion. I'm gonna go look at evidence on the legalization of marijuana. And you just did that without saying, no, I don't want to talk about it. You went and talked about it and did it to the point that you think you might be wrong. What would happen? What's the worst that could happen? You find out you were wrong, so now you're right. Who doesn't like being right? Or what? You are correct already? Or maybe you're halfway there. Either way, it just gets you closer to the truth. You got to be way in on truth. Doesn't benefit you to not. It literally directly benefits every single individual living in the society. And if you don't care about other individuals, then it doesn't matter, because it still impacts you. If you say, I don't care about politics at all and I don't want to learn about it, you are allowing somebody else to make the political decision for you, which is the opposite of democracy. It's that people have the choice. And even, let's say you live in let's say you vote in a democracy, but you're not educated. You don't know enough about the topics you're voting on. Does that help anybody? I mean, I'm not saying you have to vote, because you have the liberty not to. I'm not saying you have to be educated, because you have the liberty not to. But if you want the best for you and America, I say learn politics. It's a good route to go. Real Truth Media is going to cover a lot about politics. I plan to make that be kind of the center of everything. And we're going to talk about some psychology, some science, some history, some philosophy. But that all relates back to politics. One of my favorite people to learn about, Julius Caesar. Interesting person, interesting time for Rome. All political. Not all of it, but it's all surrounded about politics. They have a civil war because of politics. Psychology. That is just analyzing people. Social psychology in specific analyzes people in groups, which is what society is. Sociology dives into that as well. My point is that all of these come together whenever you bring in politics. And it's such a topic that nobody wants to talk about. It's known as a topic to not talk about, unless you want to fight or argue. But anybody who knows me, I'm not going to just start yelling at you, even if you disagree with me. And if everyone was like that, what would we have? We would have a lot better political institutions. If the true answer to our economy is in the middle of what conservatives and liberals think, then that would mean like 90% of our country or more is wrong on economy, on economics. Is that a bad thing? No, because we don't have all the answers. Nobody does. Nobody's political ideology is 100% right. And if it is, that's, I don't know. I don't think that anyone's is. I think that different times even can predict different political ideologies. But there is something that works better. I mean, is North Korea's economy better than the United States? I think that's an easy question. And that's because multiple factors. Some of it is the policies placed on the economy. And crime rates, they're affected by the policies placed on police enforcement. So get educated on these topics. I'm not saying that you're necessarily wrong, because you may very well be right, and you may very well be more educated on these topics than I am. I spend time out of my day to make myself more educated on all these topics. I recommend you do the same. there's a philosophy known as Stoicism, which it encourages learning. And I think that that's a really good aspect that people should put into their own personal philosophy. By learning, you're making yourself smarter. What can hurt? You make decisions better. Even if it's not that you're getting better, you make political decisions better, or you are able to understand people to a degree that you couldn't before. Touching on if you learned psychology or learning history, you know what events happen when certain factors are put in place. That's what you learn from history. Is it always going to be the same? No. Does history repeat itself? That's a good saying, because there's a little bit of a truth behind that. I mean, I think if that's just because people's brains are not crazy different. They are crazy different, but when you look at it as a whole, the whole spectrum of possible brains, you have rats on there. The two opposite people are pretty similar compared to a person to a rat. So my whole point with all this is learn. Thank you for watching. Check out Real Truth Media for all of our other videos. I'm going to do a little series here where I just sit here and talk about this stuff because I think it's important for people to know. And if you disagree with my video and you think I'm wrong, please comment. I'm open-minded. Everyone at Real Truth Media is going to be open-minded, and we want to push for that open-minded discussion. We just want to find what the real truth is. Do I know it? No, I don't. Hopefully, we can all come together, take our little bits and pieces of truth, make a collective kind of intelligence out of that. Because as of now, conservatives might be right on some things and a liberal might be right on some things, but if they're not willing to have a conversation about it, then they're both wrong, because they're both not perfectly right on everything. What if they have a conversation, come in the middle, and what if the middle is the correct answer? I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it is, because I don't know, but just something to think about. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, and I'll real see you. Oh yeah, I'm way out.